Hey Dreamers, Bryce here from Midnight Notion, singer, songwriter, musician, and a big fan of Metallica. Finna glui migwanafe Cthulhu Rilya Wignachtelftagen. Let's use math to find out. Cue the intro.
So give it to me now!
For the best Metallica song! Dream No More from Hardwired to Self-Destruct, the song that revives Cthulhu from the depths of Rilya and brings him back into the songs, pronounced poorly, unfortunately, but it's here nonetheless. And we got a comment on the name. Dream No More has the magic word in it. Somewhere in Dreamworld is available wherever you get your music online. To be honest, the first time I played this record for someone, this is the song where they put the stop on and they said, I can't listen anymore. They liked the songs before it, and this was the one that was like, this is the skip track. I don't personally feel that way, but I do understand that this song does kind of feel a little, but we can't judge it based on opinions only. We got to judge it fairly, analytically, by listening to it together, stopping every time we find something interesting, talking about it, and then grading it using the following criteria: composition, memorability, emotional response, instrumentation, and lyrics. Each category is a 0 to 4 scale with a grand total of 20 possible points. We'll find out at the end of the video if this song has what it takes to get to the top 20. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, because when you do, the nightmares end. I don't know how it works, but they go away and you don't have them anymore. Cthulhu goes back to sleep. Let's listen to the song. Okay, so each time through the riff, it looks like we have a 2/4 measure, or the last measure is in 6/4. However you choose to count it, we don't have to adhere to all of the music theory rules out there. We can make up our own rules, but if you're counting this out like I am, there's 2 beats instead of 4 at the very end, making it very interesting. We got a really slow feel, the climbing down, the descent into darkness, right? If you don't know H.P. Lovecraft's Call of Cthulhu, the story is very interesting. The person who wrote it, awful, terrible human being, no respect to him whatsoever. But the horror story that he wrote was really cool, and I find it very interesting. So go find an audio version on YouTube. I would like to do an audio version someday, but I haven't yet. So go find somebody else's version, listen to it, or if you prefer the reading version, that's available too. I believe it's all public domain. You can actually write your own Cthulhu mythos if you want to, but it's a really incredible story about this being living under the sea and haunting people in their dreams, and it only comes up again when the stars align or whatever. It's a great old one from beyond the stars. Really mystical horror, but it's very intriguing and all about like kind of sanity and how far you go when you know things that you shouldn't know. Really creepy. So I think that this song, the whole intent behind this song is to really illustrate that like deep descent into darkness, and I find that fascinating. Slow build from just hits with the hi-hat to now adding in the kick drum this next time through. We're building up momentum. Oh, was that 3? Let's go back. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Really cool. We're adding these extra measures here. They're experimenting once again. If you call back to the thing that should not be, that also had some extra beats in there every once in a while. So it's kind of calling back to that song, if you will. I love these. And then the stops. Pay attention to how the stops change. I'm going to go back just a little bit here. So we have a stop, ba, crack on the 4, and then we're into the verse. This verse reminds me a lot of something like Alice in Chains. The harmonies in the vocals are very dissonant and eerie, and they're almost hard to listen to. So once again, we have an art piece more than we have a like earworm, right? This isn't maybe gonna get stuck in your head as like this catchy tune that brings a lot of joy to me. This is gonna be more of a like, ooh, so it depends on whether or not you like that. If you want to fear because of what you're listening to, then this is a song for you. But if you want some more joy and headbangy rock and action, this maybe doesn't suit you that well. I'm intrigued by the fantastical horror elements, and I like that they're depicting it, but I also recognize that the song has kind of a drudging sort of like, ugh, I just can't quite get to the next part.
He sleeps under black seas waiting, lies dreaming in death. He sleeps under cosmos shaking, stars granting his breath. He wakes as the world dies screaming, all horrors.
I love the way these guitars are playing. They're really like they're holding out some notes and then they're stopping, and that quick little staccato jun jun with a stop, and then like a crack of the snare with a cymbal on the 4. It's really like that thunderous, like approaching, like heartbeat sort of feel. Bump bump, bump. Like, what is it? Where is he? He's somewhere around here. Oh God, oh God. Hear the slide on the guitar? There's a lot of noise in this song. They're illustrating, once again, the horrors. That pick scrape, right? They're going to either do a pick scrape or a slide down or some sort of like, like they're going to make some noises to really illustrate the horror. They're trying to build a horror landscape, and I think that's really, really intriguing. Had I not known about this story and what they're talking about, maybe I was just listening to this and I had no external context, I'd be like, yeah, pass, right? This song did take a little while to grow on me, but it has since grown on me, and I appreciate the art. Now, does this make it my favorite Metallica song? I guess we'll have to find out. That dive bomb, and it's got a delay on it even, so it falls like multiple times. It's like falling down into the dark hole. They open up this door in the story. They come to the city of Rilia. It raises from the sea, and it's nobody knows like what shape it is. They don't know where up and down is because everything is behaving wrong. And they find this door, and they open the door, and they hear the slushing underneath there, and Cthulhu raises, and it's just ugh. A couple of the people on the island actually die just from looking at the thing. So like, just imagine something that is so scary you literally died just by seeing it. It's not like controlling you to death. It's not like pulling you apart with mind powers. It's literally just so haunting that you straight up keel over. How terrifying. Ugh.
And reclaims it all. You turn to stone.
You could tell that this riff, bump, 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 they've pulled back the tempo just slightly. The rest of the song has a pretty straight groove, but this one has sort of a U-turn. It's just slightly just dragging a little bit more than the rest of the song. And again, the only word I could think of is like trudging. Like you're stuck in the mud or quicksand, and you're just trying to I'm trying to run away like I'm in a dream. You ever had that dream where you see something scary or it's approaching or it's chasing you and you just can't run? There's a psychological reason for that, but getting away from the psychology, I really think that that's what's being illustrated here. It's like that trying to run away. You turn to stone. They literally say it. You turn to stone. They say you turn to stone, and that's it's being illustrated with the music. So everything, the lyrics and the music are working together. I don't know what order they wrote this in, if they had the music first and they added lyrics to it, but it's really nice to hear them work together because most of their catalog, I think you could just say like, here's some music, slap some lyrics on that sucker and call it a day. But this one feels like a unit. It feels like it was made together, and I appreciate that. Again, James, how many times do I have to tell you? It's Cthulhu. TH. It's a soft TH. It's not a hard T. It's Cthulhu. Say it with me. 3, 2, 1, Cthulhu. One more time. 3, 2, 1, Cthulhu. There you go. It's not made for human mouths to say, but that's what it is. I don't know why I say Cthulhu. Somebody tell James to pronounce it the right way. It doesn't really matter. I'm just being silly. Okay, notice before the second verse, instead of having the ba, tss, tss, pa, it's just one, ba, pa. Just one. That's it. They're having it. Again, like I've been saying through this whole journey, when you do it a second time and you make it shorter, it keeps us interested. We don't have to sit through the whole riff all over again, looking at you, Seek and Destroy. Or, I don't know, pretty much everything from Kill 'Em All, where they do everything in eighths, and it takes a while to get back to the verse again. This is nice. We get right to it. Triplets on the end that just really dread. Ba, 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 bow. Really like that. Play with your tempos. If you want to slow it down, you could go right for it. If you want to emphasize that point, there's no rule saying that you have to pick a tempo at the beginning and stick it all the way through. However, I'm looking at you, Rebel of Babylon. You gotta transition smoothly. You don't have to, but I'm just begging you, if you want something to be memorable, if you don't want to turn people away, you gotta do those transitions appropriately. So don't just willy-nilly change it unless that's the effect you're trying to get. I don't know. I'm just mad at Rebel of Babylon. I'm mad because everybody said it was amazing and I was upset by it. But anyway, we're not talking about that song. We're talking about this one. Let's jam.
You turn to stone. Cannot go away. You turn to stone. Madness, they say. Cthulhu awaken.
Intro again. You hear that little breathe in. It's just a little. I can't even do it. I ran out of breath. Like he's getting ready. Like he's huffing. He's. Ugh. kind of cool to hear a solo start a certain way. He's got this. That was the beginning of the solo, and then we riff a little bit. We play. It wasn't as noisy as the thing that should not be, right? I really appreciated that solo because he was just kind of like hammering on the guitar, just beating up the guitar instead of like playing it. This is a lot more melodic, but now we've returned to the beginning of the solo, and we're going to build this up interestingly. Now, if you ask me, I would say that was a pretty excellent build-up with a pretty not super great payoff, right? We have this big, it's like the beast is rising, right? He's rising from beneath his hiding space, his sleeping space. He's coming from the depths, and maybe there's a sense of like victory, like I think 2 people escaped in the story, spoiler alert, and they get on a ship and they're going away, and the thing chases after them, and there's this whole battle scenario, if you will, quote unquote, and they end up getting away. So maybe this harmonized solo, it has a little bit of, you hear some sort of major harmonies going on, so you think maybe there's some success, and then that slow dun, 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 it feels like, oh no, he's back, right? And then there's a stop, and then we're just back to the chorus again, and the chorus doesn't have, like, we've been building up this energy. It's been festering. It's like we're waiting for something enormous to happen. I would have preferred to go either somewhere new or to just like end it here. How cool, how like mysterious. I think that'd be a really cool way to end a song. Dun, 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 and it just stops and you're like, whoa, I don't get a payoff. That would be like a horror story. A lot of horror, like look at horror, the genre of horror. You don't get a happy ending. You don't get a resolution. There's maybe a little hint of resolution in some movies, but there's usually some sort of big twist that goes, uh-oh, credits roll. And I think that in order to evoke that in a horror song, you have to have sort of a similar take on it where you don't actually resolve. So coming back to the chorus and it's just, you turn, it's a slower tempo. After building us up like that, in my opinion, is kind of a missed opportunity. Okay. Pretty solid ending. I think they bring it back, right? It's really unfortunate that they come down to the "you turn to stone" part, but then the finale, "Seeking Damnation." I don't even remember the lyrics. "Cthulhu awake and wake." I could just see Rob's face. Wake. His hair like flipping. Wake. Just a sweat going everywhere. Wake. I don't know. It makes me laugh. But I love that ending. Wake is a really excellent opportunity for the audience to scream along. If only they had introduced that section earlier in the song and we got to do it multiple times, that would increase the opportunity for audience participation. In my book, every time the audience participates, you get a thumbs up. You get a thumbs up because you're you're making it memorable, you're making it an event, you're giving us a reason to see you live. So when you write it into your song, these little sections where people can sing along, that's a great move. And so this section actually at the end is one of the most singable parts of the whole song. It would have been nice to hear it more often, but I don't actually know where I would put it in. It is just a nice ending. And so props for the ending, bringing us back. I'm really disappointed that build up didn't go anywhere, but we get what we get. So now that we have the song, let's give the song some points. Here we go. Whoosh. Composition. Now this one feels a little odd, and that's because, like I said, it's an artistic representation of an H.P. Lovecraft story. If you didn't already know that, you might be confused about why it's so gross and like feels eerie, and you might want Metallica to write something better. If you know the story and you appreciate the mythos, you might enjoy this one. I don't know where you stand. I'd like to know where you stand in the comments below, but for me, I have a little soft spot for fantastical horror, right? There's something about that cosmos, the unknown, and sanity. It just really makes me interested. It keeps me intrigued. And so I like what they're illustrating here. I think the composition fits that mood by having that real slow, just vibe to it. Really illustrates turning to stone and being afraid of this monster. That's really cool. I appreciate the time signature changes, the adds of those extra 2 beats, sometimes 3, sometimes 5. It's throughout the song, there's all that extra awkwardness where you're banging your head and you don't expect the riff not to change yet. Like it changes later than you expect it to, but it's all pretty straight without, if you excluding that, it feels pretty straight all the way through. So compositionally pretty neat. They do the thing, like I said earlier, they have the second pre-verse. There's not really much to the structure. It is very verse, chorus, bridge / solo, and another chorus. So nothing new there. I think, the composition is fine. If bass line is 2, I appreciate the song. It's really grown on me, and knowing rhythm theory has made me appreciate it more, and knowing the story behind it also makes me appreciate it more. So for me, compositionally, pretty good job. It's a 3. Memorability. It does kind of lack that moment, right? That big moment. I think that the initial listen to this song was really it kind of turns you off, right? It feels a little weird and rocky, and I think maybe you could remember it for the one with the eerie vocals or whatever, but it doesn't have that real good hook. Like it kind of does, but it kind of doesn't. And that real big audience moment, the wake, isn't really until the last minute of the song. And that's unfortunate because there's a lot of cool stuff in here. I think this song could easily, for me, be one of their heaviest tunes. When they say, Metallica brings you heavy, baby. Look, I'm done with Sad But True. I would take this over Sad But True because it's fresh and it's new and it's different. I'm kind of done with that song. I've heard enough of it. So I would welcome this song. But, memorability wise, there isn't a whole lot to grab onto, and because it's slow and it's long and it kind of sits in that it's a little off-putting. So memorability, I don't know where to put it. I'm going to put it right in the middle. It's a 2. Emotional response. I don't have much to say other than that this song has really grown on me. I appreciate it. I maybe don't go to this song for like hey, I'm looking forward to rock. It is a little bit more of that slower tempo. And so you kind of have to be in the mood for it. It's not like the happy go to, they're playing this song. Yeah, I've been really looking forward to the song. It would be a nice surprise to get it live, but it's not necessary. But I do like it. So it is favorable, but like I said, you got to be in the mood for it. So for me, I don't know, emotional response, if baseline is 2, I'm still pretty positive about it. That's a 3. Instrumentation. I think the only thing I would change is maybe that the solo would be a little bit more scary, as it was in The Thing That Should Not Be. I'm not asking for a copy paste, but I do appreciate the way that they really illustrated it. Or even calling back to The Call of Cthulhu, there were some elements of that song that felt more like big and like scary. And so the solo didn't really evoke that scary emotion, but the rest of the song did. I appreciate the low, crunchy, and the chugging. There's nothing really fancy going on here aside from the extra beats and the extra measures there. But everybody's playing pretty good. So no real complaints. Instrumentation 3. Lyrics, like I said, I have a little bit of a bias towards the HP Lovecraftian horror. One of my favorite scary games of all time is Eternal Darkness on the GameCube. If you know about it, I want to hear you in the comments below. Let's talk about it. Sanity's Requiem is a really cool, scary game. Fun to play in the middle of the night with all the lights off and the sound cranked up. If you have the opportunity to play in surround sound, it's terrifying. But anyway, I do love that sort of stuff. It's a personal bias. I recognize that. These lyrics do evoke some of the, he takes some of the words directly from the page. Darkness, dreaming, nightmares, that sort of concept. Madness is a really big part of it. And I'm really intrigued by the human psyche and just the things that can happen to you when you know something you shouldn't know. Very interesting. There's no real uniqueness to the rhythm of their writing. It's still very kind of baseline as far as lyrics go. There's no real, we talk about anaphora a lot. There's no real rhetorical device on display. It's just kind of basically telling the story of Cthulhu. What else can I say? There's not much new to it. I would appreciate them pronouncing the name appropriately, but again, that's just me being silly. I don't really care. Lyrically, I'm fine with it. It's a 3. And so Dream No More gets a grand total of 14 points. It's not enough for the top 20, but I do want to remind you that they have I've listened to 107 songs already. So it's in 60th place out of 107. So it's on the lower half, but still there are so many songs. 14 is still a pretty good score. There was a time where all you needed was an 11 to get to the top 20 or top 10. I don't know. But now the bar is set really high. So don't get at me if you really love this song. 14 is a great score. Let's look at some of the greatest scores, shall we? We still got one sitting at the top, unchallenged. We've got King Nothing, Through the Never, and Moth into Flame on the chopping block, tied, 3-way tie. We got other ties in here. That's why the numbers look weird. And tomorrow, we've got a pretty good challenger. I don't know if it'll make it, but I have a good feeling it's going to be on here. So now it's your turn in the comments below. Using my methods, tell me what score you would give this song, add up the math, and let me know, because I'm interested. Also, I'm exploring ideas for what to do after Metallica. So give me an idea of a band or an artist that maybe isn't from the Western, isn't Western music. I'd love to try something brand new, or just anything that isn't metal. I would like to explore some more. See if we can apply what we know to rock theory into other genres. So let's try that. Give me your suggestions below. Make sure you check out Midnight Notion. I do get my influences from all across the board. You'll hear things from Metallica to Backstreet Boys. So I'd appreciate the streams. Whatever you can find, I would love to talk about my music as well. And of course, smash that subscribe button, because tomorrow, like I said, very strong contender for that top 20 list. We'll see if it makes it. I'll see you then. And don't forget, hey, you're awesome. Thanks for watching.